Welcome to the Deadlifts and Pizza podcast, where we discuss no BS fitness and nutrition.
We're your hosts. I'm Laura.
And I'm Jamie.
Let's get into it.
Welcome to Laura's Correction Corner. I have a correction from last week because I noticed it right as I was doing the show notes as soon as we stopped recording. And then every time I'm like, you're such an idiot. Like, why are you so stupid? That's how I feel sometimes.
I was thinking.
Yeah. So you were talking about the kettlebell, right? You were holding the kettlebell in one hand and stepping back with the other foot, the opposite foot, right? And I said it was contralateral, which is incorrect because I'm thinking the foot that you're stepping back with was the working leg, but it's not. The front leg is the working leg if you were stepping forward.
I was thinking about that when you said it.
So that is incorrect.
Yeah.
So I need to correct that, even though no one really cares because the terminology doesn't really matter that much. But that's called ipsilateral when it's on the same side. Both work your core in different ways. You both have to stabilize in different ways with both.
Yes, those are the technical terms. I tend to use like counterbalanced or not. Counterbalanced, imbalanced.
Yeah.
So I had the kettlebell on the same working leg, which means the opposite leg was going back, which means I was, steady on the left, but also had extra weight on the left.
Yeah.
Which meant I felt like I was going to tip over. If I was counterbalanced or if it was contralateral, I would not have felt like I was going to tip over. I would have felt counterbalanced. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you for that much needed correction.
It's important. It's very important that we keep this
accurate.
Keep our integrity, right?
So at least, when we really stick by something, we really mean it.
It was like immediate when I was doing the show notes. I'm like, you moron.
What's on your mind this week?
I want to talk about autism.
That's a hot topic in the news right now.
It is, and a little frustrating for somebody who has a child with autism, right? Because everyone has such strong opinions about something that they have no experience with or don't even know what they're talking about. And I don't like that my daughter has become political, and it depends on, what side you're on, what you believe and all of that. It's kind of,
it really is. There's like rarely a gray zone. There's rarely people being like, hey, let's look at, like, is there any accuracy to this? Is there any?
Yeah.
People who are on the left are coming out and saying, ha, you idiots. Like, would everybody please just go continue to take Tylenol? Did you hear that there's somebody that was like in intensive care because she overdosed on Tylenol to try to prove a point?
That's
and then
insane.
And then you have people, well, I don't know, the people on the right aren't it's more so people that are angry on the left that are coming. And then the people on the right are just like, I feel like there's a little bit more actual practicality from what I'm seeing on the
they're like, we've already known this for a while. Like this has already been known. It's not like a new thing. Like Trump didn't just come out and make this up and pull this, out of nowhere. This has been like people have known this for a while.
Well, I don't know. No, I mean, we can go down the road of delivery, but we won't. But a question I have for you is because I've been hearing a lot about like autism levels, and I know you mentioned autism levels. How many levels are there?
I think 3.
3?
Yes, there's 1, 2, and 3. 3 would be, the worst. So Juliana would be considered 3 because she's nonverbal.
Right, but there's worse than Juliana.
Sure. There's definitely worse than she but she would still be considered a 3, right? But there are, I wouldn't say they're worse than Juliana, just that there's other symptoms that she doesn't have that some kids that would be a 3 would have. Like some kids have to wear a helmet, for example, because they keep banging their head against the wall because it's a form of like stimming or whatever. She doesn't do that. She stims, but she like runs back and forth through a room and bangs, like she bangs her hands against the wall and like runs back and forth, or she'll like roll around in her bed, stuff like that. She doesn't bang her head against the wall, thank God.
Or her little twirly hands.
Yeah.
That's my favorite, when she's like just staring at her.
Yeah, she'll sometimes stare at her hands. Yeah. Sometimes she does this when she's excited. Like her stimming is actually adorable. It's not as problematic because she laughs a lot, stuff like that. But there are some kids who are aggressive. Like she's in an autism class and she was having a hard day and she was crying, and this other girl, I think it was a girl, doesn't like loud noises. So she bit Juliana, and it was a bad bite. Like it went through her pants, like, and broke her skin. You could see like the outline of the girl's mouth on her leg.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It was bleed. It was not nice, you know?
No, it was not.
It was not nice. I felt so bad for her because she looked distraught when she came home that day. So yeah, there's all different, you know, things that go along with it. And I think a lot of people think that autism is like there's like a weird personality thing. Like you might be a little quirky and have social awkwardness and that kind of stuff, not realizing that there's so much more to it than that and so many more problems that come along with it. Like my daughter can't speak. Like she's 6 years old and she can't communicate. That like she doesn't have a voice. Imagine if your child doesn't have a voice. Like they're not able to express themselves. They're not able to talk about like if they have a problem or even have like, that's how we connect with each other is by talking. And she's like she probably wants to, but doesn't know how to like connect with other people. And so there's a lot more to it than just, you know, having a quirky personality or whatever.
Right. Yeah. So what is your brain been taking you down in terms of this?
So I kind of wanted to talk about some of the things coming out because I think people don't understand. And I don't know if anybody that listens to this has children with autism or wants to be pregnant or anything or wants to have kids. I mean, maybe this could be helpful, like some real information, not just people spewing things online. Like I saw someone say, like, I don't think we should be giving leucovorin to autism children when it hasn't been studied enough and it's a cancer drug. Because leucovorin is used for patients who have had chemotherapy because chemotherapy can lower your folate stores. So this will help them get more folate into their system. It's not a cancer drug. It's it's like a drug that it's not even, it's a drug, but it's B9. It's a vitamin. It's
like
that
a
you're
supplement.
giving. Yeah.
Yeah. So people seeing a very shallow view of what something is and making a very strong judgment or opinion and then projecting that to the world, and it's extremely inaccurate.
Yeah. So I want to talk about Tylenol first. So a lot of kids with autism have low glutathione, right? And glutathione is your body's like master antioxidant. So it's important for detoxing your body. It's important for keeping your cells healthy. And when you can't do that, you get a lot of inflammation in your brain because you might be, it's kind of like one thing causes something else, which causes something else, right? So a lot of kids with autism also have high levels of heavy metals in their brain and in their body because they can't detox it because they don't have enough glutathione, which can cause a lot of inflammation and a lot of issues, right? So glutathione is very, very important for many things. It also, like, because it protects your cells, it is going to keep your mitochondria healthy. And if you don't keep your mitochondria healthy, you know, that's important for your brain power and functioning, right?
Is glutathione an antioxidant that we just naturally have, or is it one that we get through food, or is it, do you know much about that?
I don't know if you can get it through food. Like, I don't know if it's actually like you ingest glutathione, but you can make it through like vitamin C, I believe. And I don't know what else. So either they have trouble making it, or they can't recycle it the way that we can. Right.
Interesting.
Yeah. So there's lots of different foods that can help you make glutathione. I don't know if you actually get it in, I think it is in certain foods, but another way is to make it.
Kind of like vitamin D. You have to make it.
Yeah.
You need the resources to make it.
Yeah. So I'm going to explain this in the way that I understand, right? I'm not a nurse or a doctor or a scientist, right? So I'm going to explain it in a way that I understand. I might get details wrong because I'm somebody who sees like the big picture and I understand like big concepts and how things work. but I'm very bad with the verbiage and getting the right technical ways of saying things and all the little details, right? So I'm just going to explain it the way that I understand. So yeah, kids with autism sometimes have low glutathione. It's actually very common. And when you take Tylenol is, it's kind of toxic to the body. That's why we don't want to take a lot of it, because it's bad for your liver, right? And glutathione is used to get Tylenol out of the body. So if glutathione is being used to get Tylenol out of the body, it's going to lower your glutathione stores. So it can exacerbate the problem. So there was like a Harvard, I think it was a systematic review. It was either a meta-analysis or systematic review, which is like towards the top of the hierarchy of studies, right? Because it's a collection of studies, and they get rid of the ones that they don't feel like are, done that well, right? And they found that there was a correlation or an association between Tylenol, women taking Tylenol when they're pregnant, and autism. But we know that correlation doesn't mean causation, right? So no one's saying it's causing autism, but maybe be careful when you're pregnant for these reasons. And there's a scientific reason of why that might be, right? So I don't think that Tylenol causes autism, but I do believe that it may exacerbate symptoms if you have a vulnerable child, right, in that way.
Right.
Right.
Because something that you've talked about before is the idea of not only autism, but there's a lot of other things that we might be genetically predispositioned to or be vulnerable to that environmental factors can then bring out or exacerbate. Yes. And one of those things, so pointing to Tylenol in particular, could be that if you already have somebody, a child in utero that is predisposed or vulnerable in some way, and then we have this lowering even more of glutathione, through the womb or whatever's happening, that can be like a risk factor for that child either developing autism or maybe developing it more intensely than they would have, maybe.
Yeah. It definitely. And I probably have a different view than most people, because most people say you can't cure autism, right? You can't cure it. I actually think you might be able to, like, at least lower the symptoms drastically, because I believe it's genetic. Like kids that it's almost like they're susceptible to these types of symptoms based on their genetics. Like something is already a little messed up, and then if it gets triggered, it can cause all of these other issues to come along with it, right? And if you can treat those symptoms, you could almost reverse it in a way, right? So you have to have the genetic part of it, but then you might still be able to treat those symptoms. And the reason I believe that is because Juliana, when she was born, was completely normal. She didn't have any of these symptoms. So she was just born with autism. Then why all of a sudden did it happen? I think something happened that triggered it to happen, right? Because like if you just see videos of her when she was first born compared to now, like like there's a difference. There's a change in her, like the way she would communicate. Like I would go ba ba ba, and she'd go ba 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 back at me. The way she interacted with us, the way that she would just like stare at her brother in awe, and all of the videos, it's just they're totally different. Like around 20 months, there's a change in her, and you can see it. She no longer looks at the camera, no longer looks at us, no longer responds to us. All of that stuff.
Do you feel comfortable talking about the event that you think might have sparked the change?
We can. I feel like this is very.
Was it Tylenol?
No, it wasn't Tylenol. But this is going to be very controversial because most people lose their mind if you even mention this. But I am not the only one that notices. So how about I explain it in a way that I'm not giving you my opinion. I'll just give you the facts of what exactly happened. Okay?
For you and Juliana.
For me and Juliana.
Your story.
The other people have had this same exact
like story.
Story. Yeah. So around 20 months, she was a little behind in her vaccinations, right? They were like, they were kind of pushed out, right? So around 20 months is when she got her her 18-month vaccinations, and she had a very bad reaction to them. And she even has a mark still on her leg where they were, given. And she had a fever for like a week at least. And she was moody for like 2 weeks. She was like miserable. I was very nervous after this because I didn't know what to do, because the way she was acting, it made me very, very nervous. And I was like, I just want my daughter back. I feel like we just changed her personality and I want her back like the way she was. But she never went back to the way she was. So she was no longer miserable after those 2 weeks, but that's when everything changed. So, I mean, I can give you what I think happened. There's a theory that like having like some kind of a big immune response, or like something like if you have like a sickness or something, that can trigger autism. So I believe it wasn't like vaccines, like the vaccines didn't cause autism. So you have like a normal child and you give them vaccines, it's not just going to all of a sudden give them autism. But I think she was very vulnerable and it caused that big immune response, which in turn caused her symptoms.
Like it's like a triggering event.
Yes. Yeah.
Does that have anything to do with glutathione?
It may, because I believe that taking those shots lowers that because of the response your body has to that event. I believe that can lower that. And then you also give them Tylenol afterwards, which can lower it even more. Yeah. So yes.
Well, I think that that's actually a helpful discussion to have, though, because it's like you're hearing when you see and hear these things, it's like vaccines cause autism, Tylenol causes autism, but that's not what the message is. It's that there could be these triggering events that could trigger, this reaction in kids who are already vulnerable or predisposed to these things.
Yeah.
And so it's not like the vaccine caused Juliana's autism. It's more so she had all of these factors that were already in place. And then she had an extreme immune response to whichever. We all have immune responses to vaccinations. That's like normal and expected. But how extreme it is, some people get really sick and have fevers after they get their flu shot, and some people don't react at all. That's an immune response. So Juliana having a strong immune response could have then triggered the onset of these, autism symptoms, which is probably, I'm assuming from talking, and also, just what I would assume, like starting to lose eye contact, not responding, and this not showing joy in the same things or interest in the same social interactions. You probably noticed all of that start to decline.
Yeah, 100%. And it was like almost immediate. It definitely was a little gradual, but it was almost immediately after.
And doesn't she also have a gene mutation that you have traced that you also have that is linked to autism?
It is. So that's what I mean by, I don't think that every kid, this is even a possibility for. Like, I think that it's something to do with that gene mutation. And ours is very rare. So the one gene mutation that everyone talks about is like MTHFR is maybe the I don't know what it is, something like that. And those kids have a problem absorbing folate, I believe. It's something like that, which folate, this brings me to leucovorin actually, because folate is very important for communication. It's very important for your brain and communication and all these different things, right? So leucovorin was the other thing that they discussed. And what leucovorin is folinic acid. Okay, so it's a form of folate, basically. It's basically vitamin B9, right, is what it is. And there's a lot of kids with autism that have these antibody receptor. They have receptor antibodies, right? So it can happen from having gut issues. So if you have like for me, I had all these food intolerances, right? And then I was able to heal my gut and I no longer have them. And the reason why is because when you have intestinal permeability, things can leak out and go into your bloodstream. And then your body's like, this isn't supposed to be here. This is foreign. And it kind of attacks it and it creates these antibodies, right? So these, and people sometimes have lots of issues and lots of symptoms from those things. So some of the kids with autism are believed to have, issues with milk and dairy products, right? So, and it creates, so leaky gut, intestinal permeability, they get into the bloodstream, all these antibodies are created, and those antibodies are blocking the folate receptors, and they block them or they bind to them themselves so that you can no longer get, these kids can't get folate to their brain, into their cells and into their brain, right? So folinic acid is, it doesn't need those same receptors. It can bypass those, use a different receptor, and be able to get into the brain. So you can imagine how helpful that would be for somebody who's not able to use folate in their brain, who now has a way to get it there and is able to use it. And it's important so folate is important for balancing the neurotransmitters in your brain and can help you detox properly. It might even help you create glutathione on top of it. And it can help with speech. So people that have taken this, like, by the way, this has been used for a while. It just hasn't been FDA approved, which I didn't know this. So apparently doctors, like certain doctors that have been in this field for a long time, have noticed that this has been helpful and have been using that on certain patients. But you can't just go to any doctor and ask for this. It was like only certain people who had been using this, but the ones that have seen positive changes. And then there's like
it's like what did you say it was called?
Leucovorin.
Leucovorin is the name of the like
drug.
Like the brand name of it.
Yeah.
But I guess in chemotherapy, not being able to, I don't know, get folate or process folate is a common thing. So they give it as like almost like a supplement for that.
Yeah. I don't know if they have issues getting it to their brain too, and they had to give them that form, or if it's just like, I'm not really sure about in that field, but it's to help them improve their folate stores.
But yeah. Okay. I see. So, but some doctors are seeing the benefits of supplementing this in kids with autism or people with autism because it can help maybe communication.
Yes.
So you said you've heard some people,
so
stories.
I've heard it in studies and people talking about it, that it helps with speech and communication, cognition, attention, even reducing stimming behaviors in some people, and mood regulation, and also epilepsy, also seizures. So there's a lot of kids with autism also have seizures.
Your kids both have seizures.
Both of my kids have seizures. And folate is another thing that with ADHD too. All this is like linked with ADHD too. So both of my kids, I could probably use this.
Yes, I was just thinking. I was like, so you're going to give it to Caleb too, right?
I don't think it's not approved for that, but yeah. So now it's FDA approved, which is the exciting part for autism. That's what's exciting. So it wasn't FDA approved for autism before, and now it is. But yeah, so parents have been using it for a while, and they've noticed these things. And I've heard some people say they've been using it for like even just a month, and their kid wasn't speaking and now they're speaking, or they weren't potty trained and now they're potty trained, and they're seeing all of these improvements in a lot of children. And it can help with seizures. Like, I don't know why people are mad about this. Like, this is exciting. This makes me so excited because I feel like there might actually be a treatment in a way that might actually help Juliana. I'm not sure.
If it's FDA approved to help with to symptoms of autism, why would people be mad about it? I love your sighs. It's like
because people want to be outraged about anything that certain people say. I think it's because of who delivered the information.
Did RFK Jr. deliver this information? Did Trump deliver this information?
I don't know which one delivered it was
the administration.
Administration in general. Yeah. So anyway, I'm excited about it because I don't know if so there's a FRAT test, it's called, so you can test to see if you have these antibodies. And if you do, this could be very helpful. Even if you don't, like sometimes you test negative and it could still be helpful. So I want to try it. I did hear that in the first couple of months, sometimes symptoms get worse and some kids get aggressive and there might even be more problems. So certain people said, oh, it didn't work for us, and they went off it right away. But it was like doctors don't really understand how to give it to people yet because they have no experience with this. So I guess it's smart to start slow and then work your way up. But you do want to get to like a therapeutic dose, and then different kids are going to need different amounts based on how they tested in the frat test and all these different things. So I think there's a lot of learning that needs to come along with it, and how to administer it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason why some kids have these like crazy reactions at first, it's because it sounds like it was like there's nothing there, and then all of a sudden it gets overloaded with all this, and your body kind of like,
that would make sense. It's a lot of input like at once.
Yeah. And so it kind of makes it worse, but then it levels off, and people have seen positive improvements to all this.
Interesting. So, you started this off by saying like it's very infuriating to see people have so many strong opinions on autism and what causes it and all this stuff. And it's basically based on the administration delivering the information, and puts political and all this stuff. Do you feel like you've kind of formed an opinion on why we have, like, why autism is such, like, why we have increased rates of autism on this high level? Like, do you have your own opinion on that?
I think it's definitely a factor, or like multiple different factors. Like, I don't think it's one thing. Like, I wouldn't say it's just vaccines. I wouldn't say it's just like, I think like different foods. I think there could be like, there's so many different things in our environment that weren't there before. So I think it's
maybe like environmental triggers.
Yeah, I think there's lots of them. And I do believe, like, some people say that, well, we're just testing for it more. We're just diagnosing it more. And that's why there's more cases. And I would agree that we are. Like, it's like 1 in 31 kids now have autism, and that's kind of insane, right? And I think that's because there's a lot of level 1 autism that was not diagnosed before, right?
Right.
But I still believe that it is way more prevalent, because like, if you look at Juliana, there's nobody else in my family that is nonverbal. There's nobody else, even though we've probably all have the same gene mutation up one line of my family, because it's very rare, and most likely if somebody has it, it was passed down from somebody else, right? So it has to go back pretty far, and nobody in my family on either side is nonverbal, right? I don't think in the amount of people that that are older that are nonverbal, like, I don't know anybody who's an older adult that is nonverbal. So I do think that it's more prevalent now than it used to be.
Do you think that, like, let's take away the environmental triggers that could have triggered Juliana's, like, do you think that she still would in modern day testing test as autistic, but maybe more on a level 1 or level 2? Or do you think that it's possible that it would have maybe just never shown up?
Because of how normal she was, it might have never showed up. Like, she didn't show any symptoms until all of a sudden, Or
do you think because that gene mutation is also connected to epilepsy and ADHD, like you said, and both your kids have epilepsy, Caleb has ADHD. Do you think it's possible she could maybe just be that, like, level 1, like, kind of quirky, maybe struggle socializing? So maybe in modern day testing, if you went to get her tested, she might show up as autism,
Maybe, but even like, think about the seizures. No one in my family had that either. All of that stuff makes me think it's very environmental, right?
So maybe even Caleb's like ADHD and epilepsy. So even though all of that stuff might have been in your family through gene mutations, genetics, etc., the environmental triggers are what's bringing it out in your children now in like 2000s or whatever.
Yeah, I believe so. Just because if you look at there's no one else in my family that has a seizure disorder.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
And if that's very common with this, then the other things that come along with this are like balance issues. So it does something to the, and I don't think that's as much environmental, because I think that's definitely just the gene mutation. So it does something to your cerebellum, is that what it is? Which is important for balance. So that's why I have that ataxia type 2. But there's another one that's like progressive, where it's almost like similar to MS, and you have like progressively gets worse to where there's very similar symptoms to MS.
Yeah. Well, when your dad has MS,
he does.
And yeah, we've all heard your stories of your basketball stories.
Yeah. It makes me wonder if my dad really has MS or if he just has this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's like ataxia type 6 or something it's called.
So fascinating, all of this stuff.
I think it's important to get the information to people so they can decide what they want to do. If you want to take it when you're pregnant, you can take it when you're pregnant. That's your choice, whatever. But I think it's important that people know this so that they can make their own decision.
Yeah, it's a very, very interesting, but it is very frustrating that things like this become political.
It is. It is very much so.
Absolutely. I saw like a TikTok something or a reel or something like that was like, which 2 presidents was it? I think I posted on my story. It was like Nixon and somebody else that were like, whoever you vote for, it's not what you're voting for is not about the direction you want to see America headed in. It's which pathway you think is going to get us there faster. We have the same ideals and the same values, but which pathway do you believe is going to get us to our ideals like faster? And they were both just like saying that, like, we're both great. So just, pick one of us.
Imagine if you're like, actually, if I remember right, the vice presidential debate was like that. They're like complimenting each other.
This past one?
Yeah.
Who was it? Vance and
Walz.
Waltz, that's right.
Yeah.
Craziness.
So
anyway, thanks for sharing all of that. Very interesting.
Definitely.
So what are you going to do? How are you going to get this? What is it called again?
Leucovorin.
I keep wanting to say something else. There's a different word in my head, but I can't say it because it doesn't come out.
I am like
Leucovorin.
I try not like, so when Caleb needed ADHD medicine, right? I was like, I just want something that might help a little bit. Like if it helps a little bit, I'll be, happy. And turns out it was like a miracle drug, right? So I'm not thinking like this is going to be a miracle, but it most likely it'll probably help a little bit. So I do want to ask her doctor about it. Maybe get that frat test or whatever and see what we should do. And if her doctor doesn't want to do it, then I'll ask her neurologist, and I'll just keep asking people. Yeah.
Fascinating.
Asking as many people as I can until someone says, sure.
Yeah. And because you definitely have to get like you have to get a prescription for it, right?
You do. And I'm not really super worried about it because it's vitamin B9. It's a vitamin. It's not. Yeah. There's not too many. It's very safe compared to some things.
Right.
And what if like she takes this and she no longer needs their seizure medicine anymore, or, whatever.
Right. That'd be huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. It definitely would be. Interested. Keep me updated.
I will.
I was talking to somebody yesterday. I was on a call with a new person, and she was telling me all about her history, blah, blah, blah. And she was telling me how she used to work with a coach before. And she was telling me some great things and some things that I perceived as negative. This was one of them. She was talking about how much she struggles with food and how much she struggles avoiding foods that she enjoys eating, and how much she struggles like being at events or, et cetera, et cetera. Like just basically food in general is such a struggle for her. And it's funny because I hear this a lot, because when she ran through the foods that she actually eats in her day, she eats very healthy. She's not somebody that, like everything, plenty of protein, lots of vegetables, healthy fats, like everything sounded logically like very healthy. But a lot of people who eat very healthy constantly say they struggle with food. Like nutrition's my biggest struggle. Well, why? If your diet looks pretty good, why is it such a struggle? And it's like, well, I'm constantly wanting to like eat chocolate, or like when people come over or these events, it's just because food is always around, and it's how you kind of view it. And it's like, well, food is such a struggle. Well, but why are you fighting against it so hard? And why are you struggling to find like the balance? But this woman told me, she's like, and food is such a struggle to me. And I know because my old coach told me you need to eat to live. Don't live to eat. And I know that, and then like kept going. And I was like, well, hold up.
Laura disagrees.
I was like, hold up. I don't agree with that. I said, I don't know about you, but I do kind of live to eat.
I do. I love to eat.
And I was like, and I think that if you look at like every other culture around the world, I would say it's very common. Like, think of the ways that we sit down to celebrate or to have conversation or to, like, what brings us together. A lot of times it is food, and it's food events and or drinks and you know, ingesting some form of calories into your body, right, is usually. And I said, and even if you get outside of humans and humanity, like, yes, other animals eat to live, but they also live to eat. Have you ever seen, like, yeah, like all animals, if they are provided with food, whether their bodies still need it or not, they will eat it. They are living to try to, like, eat, right? They're
because
not eating just enough and then going off to rest. Like, they're constantly.
And I think some people I think that's why some people do struggle with nutrition, is because they have that mindset, and you need to give yourself permission to just enjoy food and not feel like you should only eat to live, right?
Yeah.
Like,
or
it's going to totally change your mindset.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's going to make you more relaxed around food. Like, that's one of the biggest changes that has helped me, is I'm more relaxed around food. I'm not like very always worried about what I'm eating. It's kind of like, oh, I'm going to eat this today, and I get excited about it kind of feeling.
Because you're in control. You've taken the full control in the driver's seat of that. Yeah. And I feel like when we live by these statements, or we constantly think that these are things that we are supposed to avoid, and you're inside your four walls going, God damn it, as soon as I leave these four walls, I don't have control anymore. I can only control it inside my house. And as soon as I leave, like, I'm in this uncontrollable world. Well, no, like, you can lean in and you can enjoy things. And yeah, exactly like you said, like, when you allow yourself to just enjoy food and just enjoy it, and then take control of the results that you want to have, and manage that through food, sure. But this constant avoidance and fear of, like, enjoying food, I think, is wild.
Yeah, like, I'm going to really enjoy some pumpkin pie this Thanksgiving. I look forward to it every year.
Yeah.
Like, I do enjoy, and I think that's a difference too. Like, I know we've talked about this before. I don't like when people just mindlessly eat. Like, I don't think it's a good idea to just keep grabbing chips out of the, bag as you walk by, or having all that stuff readily accessible. That doesn't actually make you happy in that moment. You just want it because you see it, kind of thing. Whereas other occasions, there are times when it does make you happy. Like, there's sometimes you associate food with, like, I will make a big bowl of popcorn, like air popcorn, when I'm watching a movie or something, because I associate popcorn with movies, and that's like, makes me happy to eat popcorn when I'm watching a movie, that kind of stuff. There's different things that like, you don't have to avoid it all. You don't have to be miserable.
No. How do you eat air popcorn without any salt?
I add salt to it.
How?
You add salt to it.
But it falls to the bottom. It doesn't stick to it.
Oh, no. So, well, you put butter. You put butter. I mix butter and coconut oil and pour it on, and then mix it all up, and then put the salt and mix it all up. And because that kind of makes it stick to it a little bit more.
So you are using oil.
Yeah, I use coconut oil and butter.
And you pour it on after it's been popped?
Yeah, so it has like a tray on top that you put it in, and then it will melt as the popcorn is popping. Oh. And so then you pour it on afterwards, and you can mix it all up. And it's not like super perfectly even. There'll be some that doesn't have, that don't have a lot on it. And then you put the salt on and mix it all up. It's usually pretty evenly done.
Why have it air popped then? Why not just toss the kernels in it and then pop it that way so that it's evenly spread?
Because it would get into the machine and ruin it.
Because you have an air popper.
Yeah.
Got it. But you need a different mechanism of popping popcorn if you were going to do it that way.
Yeah, if you're going to do it that way.
Okay. So, yeah. But there's kind of no point in the air popping if you add the stuff after.
Yeah, it is. I get to control how much I'm putting on it, and it doesn't have all the other chemicals that is in a bag of popcorn.
Right, but you could pop it by tossing the kernels and then having a different type of popper and still control the amount of, like, oils and stuff you put on it. Right?
Oh. So you're comparing it to, like popping it different. Right. popping it a different way. They do have like ones that you can put in like the microwave, and they like, I think you can put it all in there in one.
You can
There's
even
different...
like, I've never actually mastered it, but you can just put your kernels in a skillet.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, and you can just keep them moving.
Why would I want to do that when I have an air popper? It's
because
so easy.
The idea, I'm really bothered by the idea of eating a piece of popcorn that's like almost wet with butter and another one that has nothing on it. Like, I don't like the fact that I don't like pouring it on after because it's so unevenly spread and it really bothers me. Like, the only way I've ever...
You have to do it right.
Maybe you have a method, and I'm sure,
you have to like go very slow
and
then
toss
you mix it
and
all
toss
up.
and toss.
And then I also put it around the edges a lot, so I get it around the edges, so that way when I'm spinning it and mixing it up, it's getting it all.
I feel like you need more than two hands.
No,
what I can imagine is, you know how you kind of shake a bowl to get stuff to toss when you're tossing veggies in oil or something? Yeah. I feel like I would need to be doing that, and my husband would need to be drizzling at the same time. We both need to be going like quickly to try to make sure it was all over it.
I mean, I just go around and do like the top layer, then I mix it all up, then I go and do another layer, then I mix it all up.
And then you add the salt once it's all pretty coated?
Yeah, I do the salt after because then the butter, it's going to stick better.
You know what I've done?
It tastes fine. It's like, it's probably not as good as, microwave popcorn, but I like it better.
Yeah.
And I can eat a huge ass bowl of it.
Oh, hell yeah. What I've done before is use the spray because it sprays, pretty evenly. So I'll spray the top, sprinkle salt, and then toss, spray, salt. Oh. And that works pretty well. But then it's like you're using the spray and, it depends on like what ingredients are in there. If it's just oil or if it's other stuff.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Anyway, had to divert because I was like, it's just a bowl of air pop popcorn with nothing on it. Okay, got it.
No. and I put like a tablespoon. Like I'll put like half a tablespoon of butter, half a tablespoon.
Yeah.
Tablespoon of Coke. So it's not a lot of extra calories, like 100 extra calories.
Yeah. I love the idea of like controlling the amount for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just wanted to comment on that. I thought that was interesting.
Okay.
But it kind of leads into this other thing that I was going to talk about. Speaking of like eating to live or living to eat. This is kind of, I don't know, maybe the opposite. It's not the opposite, but it's a little bit counterbalanced to what we were just talking about, is the idea of balance. And I think that there's a lot of people, tell me if you agree with this. There's a lot of people who use the idea of balance as a justification for inconsistency.
Yeah, I agree.
So your desire or need to not let go of certain lifestyle changes or comforts, you say, well, it's the gray zone. Well, it's balance. I did a little bit of this, so now I'm going to do a little bit of that. Like, well, I walked a lot today, so, I'm going to have that glass of wine because I need to have that balance. It's like, well, are we really raising the bar? Are we really making change? Mm-hmm. So I was wondering, I thought it would be a good question to ask, like, what does balance actually look like for you? So of course we talk to people who are very extreme, who don't have balance, or people that go back and forth between extremes, either very, very strict or just like, mm-hmm. what is the thing? You only live YOLO. So it took me forever. I'm old. YOLO or like being very extreme. But what does real balance while making or maintaining progress actually look like?
I think real balance does require restriction, so that you can't avoid restriction if you want. Like like alcohol is a good example. You can't just drink all the alcohol that you want, right? There's always going to be some kind of restriction that goes along with things. You can't just sit on your butt all day, right? But you might need to relax sometimes and work other times, right? So you need to always find that like balance, but it's always going to have some sort of restriction. So people need to know that, like, you don't just get to eat what you want all the time. I think balance for me is eating foods that I enjoy and not really, like, if I eat a lot of whole foods, I get to eat a lot of different food. Like I can eat a lot of calories, right? So I eat frequently and I eat a lot of calories. so it's eating, how do I explain it? I don't know. It's like during certain times, it gives me permission that during certain times I can enjoy foods that I like if I eat mostly well most of the time. So if I focus on eating a lot of fruits and vegetables and protein, then there are times when I'm like, I'm really in the mood for some chocolate, and I can just eat chocolate and not worry about it. That's what I would consider balance. But I can't have chocolate. I guess you could have like a piece of chocolate every day, but I wouldn't be able to eat like a ton of chocolate every day, or like have chocolate and something else every day. Did that make any sense? I'm just like thinking of it as I'm talking.
Yeah. No, I understand. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
And to me, it's kind of like making the choices and pushing hard enough and making the maybe uncomfortable shifts or the smart shifts, and pushing hard enough to see and be able to maintain progress while sprinkling in just enough of kind of like the other stuff to be able to stay sane and like enjoy it more too. Because if you're eating chocolate all day, every day, you're not even enjoying it at that point. It's becoming like compulsion, right? Like how much more enjoyable is a piece of chocolate when you have it every once in a while than when you just eat it all the time whenever you want. It's not actually enjoyable anymore. It's just like a compulsion or a habit. Right. And so, that's what I feel like that's really what it is. It's doing 80 to 90% of the things will push you forward, or at least maintain the hard work that, you've been doing, while sprinkling in maybe, 10 to 15 to 20% of enough, of the other stuff. But a lot of people's idea of balance looks a little bit more 50-50.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to strike a 50-50 balance, then you're not going to make progress. Think about, like, if I like this analogy, if you're going to take a test, if you're putting in 50% effort, you're failing. You fail the test, 50% is failing. And if you do 50% of the changes that you want to make, then you're going to fail in progress because you're only doing 50%.
Yeah. Yeah. The 80-20 rule. It's a good balance.
Or 90-10, depending on how precise your goals are. For sure, it can definitely scooch into, you have to be a little bit more strict at certain times. You can be a little bit more relaxed on other times, but over the course of your life, it should round out to about 80-20. I saw somebody ask a question. They were like, for those of you that follow the 80-20 diet, is what she called it. She said, for those of you that follow the 80-20 diet, how do you do it? How do you determine like the exact 80% of calories and where they come from and what counts towards the 80% and the 20%?
Now you're just overcomplicating it. You're just doing it wrong.
You massively overcomplicated something that was meant to make things very it's relaxed.
Yeah.
Well, like apple calories. Do the calories from carbs count towards the 80% or the 20? Like, OMG.
I have something to say.
Do you?
That could be another topic.
Okay.
That was the best transition ever.
Such a good term. I'm leaving it in.
Okay, good.
I also have something to say that could be a topic.
Told you.
And what's that?
Shouldn't be allowed to podcast. So I saw a video. I've seen this video before, but this one was like an extended version of it. From Gabrielle Lyon, and it was a video of her talking about carbohydrates. And she was talking about how the average American eats 300 grams per day. And the average American is also sedentary, right? And she was talking about how we don't actually need that many carbs. And I think she said like 80 grams is what we would need if we were just sedentary. And she was talking about how you need this many carbs for this many carbs for this. And, our muscles, like you need it for glycogen in your muscles, but you don't actually deplete the glycogen unless you are training, right? And then you need more carbohydrates. now I'm like self-conscious of the way I say carbohydrates. So she was saying that in the way she worded it, and people were very upset. The way she worded it was that you have to earn your carbs.
Oh yeah.
Like if you want to eat a lot of carbs, you have to earn them by training, because that's your body's going to need more carbs if you train. You don't need as many if you don't, and you're just getting excess for no reason. And, you know, it's going to turn into body fat and all of that. And she also talked about like getting most of it from fruits and vegetables and not from French fries and that kind of thing. What do you feel about that? Like, do you think that's a bad way to say that?
I think people get upset because when you use a word like earn, it's tying into those emotional, it's like good and bad foods and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's a simple way to put it that sparks an immediate emotional response, which obviously people get upset about. But at the same time, people get upset, but they also like it for the people who don't get upset, they can understand it and they can relate to it, and they can apply it to their lives easier, because you just connected it to like emotion and they understand that a little bit better. So that makes a lot of sense. I generally agree with that. I mean, if you think about carbs being, they're an energy source. They're your body's primary energy source. I wonder if the 80 grams ish is accurate. Like, I wonder where she gets that from.
I think that's if you just did nothing and you needed it for this process and this process. And it probably depends on the person. She's probably just using an average, you know. I think it was like, and I would have to go back and watch it, but I think she was talking about like, that's the minimum if you know, if it was used for all the different things, but you're not actually working out. Yeah. That's what you would need. Yeah. You're not actually using a lot of it for energy, because you don't actually need as many as people think. But if you're training, you do.
I like, you know, and I can't articulate why I'm feeling this way, but I don't even want to talk about the amount of carbs you would need if you did nothing, because I don't want doing nothing to be an option. And then when you bring up a number of like, oh, you really only need like around 80 if you don't really do anything, then people don't really latch on to, oh, if you don't really do anything. They latched on to the number, oh, 80, I really should limit my carbs. Like, I don't even want to have that discussion. I want to talk about like, no, carbs are necessary for fuel, and we're all moving towards being more active. So while we're being more active, let's look at these positive ways that we can include carbohydrates. But from a scientific standpoint, if you're coming at it from like truly trying to understand nutrition and in a more scientific mindset, I can see how that information would be helpful. But I think for general population, I can see why people would get upset hearing that.
And that makes me too, because she was up on stage. I don't know if she was talking to regular people or if she was talking to fitness people. I don't know who her audience was.
Well, once you're on social media, your audience is every fucking body.
But I found it useful, because I feel like that's helpful to know. And she did also mention, like, she pointed to someone in the front row and she said he was like a SWAT I don't know. She said something about it, like something he does, and he works out like 2 hours a day. She's like, he probably needs closer to 300 grams, 200 to 300 grams of carbohydrates.
Yeah, but you like, over there,
I'm
looking at you,
you office worker who sits on your butt all day. Yeah.
Calling people out. Yeah.
But I understand her point. It's that we are acting like we are athletes, like eating like we're athletes, when most people just sit around all day, right? And it's kind of like that balance that you're talking about, not what you were talking about, but it's kind of like another balance talk because like certain people are like way over on this end of the spectrum, where they're like those people drive me crazy, where they're like, carbs are evil, you should never have carbs. I'm just going to say carbs from now.
Carbo.
Should never have carbs because, they cause all of these issues and all of these problems and blah, blah, blah. And you should be eating, like, limit them as much as possible. There's that group, and I totally disagree with them. Then there's then the pendulum swings way over here, where it's like, no, carbs are for energy. So eat as many as you want them, as you want of them. And I think it should be somewhere in the middle. I think you should limit carbs if you aren't really using them, right? Like,
I also think you should limit overall calories if you aren't really using them. I mean, the same can be kind of said as like,
true.
You're eating the calories of somebody who's very, very active, and you are not very, very active, and therefore you just don't need that many calories.
Yeah.
You know?
I think carbs are a little different because it's like fats are required for a lot of things in the body. Protein is required for a lot of things in the body. Where carbohydrates, the biggest thing they're used for is energy.
Right.
So I think that's why it's a little bit different. They're not essential.
Yeah.
Like for me personally, if I eat below 150 grams consistently, I'll start to get a little sluggish and a little tired. And if I eat below like 100 grams, it'll mess with my sleep, and I'll stop sleeping and have a lot of issues, right? So I need to eat at least 150 because I'm a very active person.
Yeah.
And then if I eat above 200 consistently, like if I'm getting to like 225 and higher consistently, I also won't feel good. It's just too much, I think, and I'll get bloated and have like gut issues and things. And it also depends on where it's coming from. But even if I eat that many vegetables, that's a lot of fiber in there.
Yeah.
A lot of other issues. So
I can easily eat 250 grams of carbs a day with the grains that I just love.
Yeah. I mean, I could. I don't feel good if I do it consistently.
Yeah, I haven't noticed that, but I'm also not super in tune to myself and the world as other people are, apparently.
Well, I guess I don't think most people are as attuned as I am when I pay attention to what I'm eating. Yeah,
I think you're more attuned than normal. Yeah. I also do think I'm less attuned than normal.
Yeah. And if my fat, I feel the same way though. If my fat's too high, I get really sluggish. And I don't really notice anything happening when it's too low, but I'm sure it is.
You know what I feel my best is when I am just like uber hydrated and I'm eating a ton of protein.
Yeah.
I feel so good. I mean, duh. But I really do. I feel it doesn't matter how many calories I'm eating, but it ends up being less, right? Because you're eating a lot of protein. It ends up being less calories, but it doesn't matter how much food I'm eating. If a large portion of it is coming from protein and I am hydrated AF, I like almost don't need coffee in the afternoon. Like I feel lean. I feel energetic. I feel great.
I feel the protein is the one that doesn't give me gut issues if I eat a lot of protein.
A lot of people do. A lot of people increase their protein pretty rapidly.
Yeah.
And they notice either with whey protein, a lot of people will notice like bloating.
Well, that's different because it's the whey. It's the processed protein. And if I'm getting it from milk, like if I just downed a bunch of milk, then I'm going to have an issue. But if I'm getting it from meat, no.
Yeah. But then just increasing protein in general, a lot of people get who aren't used to it get constipated.
That makes sense. And they also don't always have the stomach acid and the enzymes to break it down because you have to do it slowly if you're not used to it.
Well, then they try to increase fiber real fast, and then that has the opposite effect. And they get frustrated and like everything has to go slowly.
Yeah.
Your body's not used to it.
Just like taking leucovorin.
Yeah, exactly. Way to wrap it back around. Nice job. On that note, thanks for listening. Great pod today. If you have
thanks for my TED Talk. Listening to my TED Talk.
If you have thoughts or questions or comments on any of that stuff, we would love to hear it. And we will see you next week.
Bye.